Hello everyone, what is up? Nubby here, back with another video, and in today's video I want to talk about a little gacha game I have been playing recently called Punishing Gray Raven, a gacha game that was first released in China back in 2019 and released globally back in 2021. And in this video I want to talk about what exactly is Punishing Gray Raven, why am I even playing Punishing Gray Raven, and how was my experience playing Punishing Gray Raven, and would I recommend you to play Punishing Gray Raven. So with the introductions out of the way, sit back, relax, and please enjoy the video. Punishing Gray Raven, commonly known as PGR, is a free-to-play action RPG combat-focused gacha game developed by Kuro Games, the same developers who made Wuthering Waves, which is one of the biggest gacha games currently available in the industry. And similar to Wuthering Waves, PGR is set in a post-apocalypse world where humanity is on the brink of extinction. However, in PGR, its apocalypse is caused by a biomechanical virus known as the Punishing Virus that is able to infect and corrupt machines and humans alike, turning them into hostile biomechanical monsters that attack and infect anything and everything. Eventually, the outbreak of this virus was so bad that the remnants of humanity had to leave Earth and take refuge in an orbital space station called Babylonia, serving as humanity's last stand against the virus. In this post-apocalyptic world, you, the main character, will assume the role of Commandant, the military commander of Gray Raven, which is the code name for the team of constructs, which are cyborg waifus and husbandos that are under your command, that are created to help reclaim planet Earth from the Punishing Virus. And yeah, that is basically what you need to know about the world of Punishing Gray Raven. There are also other very cool locations and concepts in the game, such as the infected space station that is constantly attacking Babylonia in space, or the Eternal Engine, a massive, constantly moving train that is housing a whole different faction of humanity that got left behind on Earth called the Commercial Alliance. However, in PGR, you only really get to experience these cool locations in the main story through art, background music, and characters, as PGR don't really have much in the way of open world exploration, and the most you will get is by looking at the arena background during combat. But you don't play PGR for world exploration. No, you play PGR for its combat gameplay. Over the years, since its initial release, PGR is well known in the gacha space for its solid combat gameplay, mixing fast-paced, real-time 3D combat with the game's unique ping system, commonly referred to as the Candy Crush system, as for most characters in PGR to use their powerful skills or core passive abilities, you will have to match 3 orbs of the same color like the hit game Candy Crush to trigger the powerful abilities, all while dodging, evading, or blocking the attacks of your enemies in-game, creating a very unique and intense combat gameplay experience to be enjoyed in a majority of game modes in Punishing Gray Raven, such as the weekly boss rush challenge mode known as Pain Cage, a score-based combat challenge mode where you fight waves of elite enemies within a time limit known as Warzone, or other game modes known as Norman Revival Plan, where you need 3 teams to clear the endgame content, or there is even other permanent in-game event modes like the Fantasia and Cursed Waves with its own special in-game systems. And besides all of that, there's even limited time combat events for the current versions of the game, giving players more combat related content and more rewards to pull for waifus and husbandos. So all in all, combat is the game's main selling point, and the game knows it by giving you multiple different game modes to experience and enjoy its very solid combat gameplay. Next, I want to talk about why am I even playing Punishing Gray Raven. Like, this game has been out for a couple of years now, around 3 to 4 years for global, but why am I only playing it right now, and why didn't I play PGR back in 2021 when it was first released? Well, even though I have ever only heard good things about PGR, I typically already play more than one gacha game at a time, and I didn't really want another time commitment. And I guess I just never really had enough motivation to play the game until... The Punishing Grey Raven and Devil May Cry 5 collab got announced, and from what little gameplay I have seen of the collab from the Chinese servers, I basically had no more excuses for not trying out the game. Vergil literally is my motivation to play PGR, and my goal right now is to save up as much of the premium currency as I possibly can to go all in on Vergil's and Dante's banners when the collabs finally get released for the global servers sometime in August of 2025. So after finally trying out Punishing Grey Raven and playing the game for a little over 3 weeks now, how was my experience playing PGR? Overall, playing Punishing Grey Raven really opened my eyes as a gacha player who mainly plays more mainstream gacha games like Withering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero to how good their combat is. And what I'm about to say could be a recency bias, but in my current opinion as of making this video, PGR has the best combat gameplay in the gacha industry, hands down. People out there are debating whether Withering Waves or Zenless has better combat, but in my opinion, the clear winner for best combat is PGR. But let me give you more context. I am a very casual player even in Withering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero, and for both games I don't really push endgame content. I don't really sweat over their combat, I just play casually to have fun. And I play PGR the exact same way, so I cannot say that I'm the best judge when it comes to evaluating which game has the best combat. But going off on what I'm feeling after playing all three games, I really like PGR's Candy Crush color matching ping system. At first I hated the ping system because it felt too random, like what if I don't get the color I wanted, but after building up multiple characters, I ended up really loving the system because of how the ping system interacts with different characters. Some characters have different forms and they only get access to a single color in one form to reduce RNG, while other characters will have combos or specific movesets in their kits to arrange and match the same colors together for an easy 3-color ping. Overall, I feel the ping system, or the Candy Crush system, really adds an additional layer of skill and depth to PGR's combat, and when you just successfully execute a successful combo with all the right pings and matching colors, it feels really, really good. And that is just coming from me, a casual player who isn't really good at the combat of PGR, but I am already loving the combat overall. However, this game isn't without issues, as Punishing Grey Raven has the worst beginner starting experience out of all the gacha games that I have ever played. This game shines in its combat and all of its combat related modes, but unfortunately, to unlock those modes you need to go through a big chunk of the main story quest that is not voice acted and jam-packed with a shit ton of information and world building. Also, the menus are pretty bad. There are just far too many menus, and the UI design in some areas I feel is just horrible. An example being the zoom button in the character overview menu. In most other gacha games, typically when you want to zoom in on a character to appreciate the character design, you typically just use your middle mouse button to scroll up and down. But in PGR, you cannot really do that, and it took me a whole week to find this out. But in order to zoom in on a character, you have to go into another menu just to zoom in, so you can jerk off. So I can appreciate the character design. Like, this is just a small example of a bad UI and menu system and just having, far too many menus. But all of this caused me to not really enjoy PGR during the first few days of me playing, and what really got me through the first week was the DMC collab that is potentially coming to global around August of 2025. So after spending about a week unlocking most of the combat modes like Pain Cage, Warzone, and getting familiar with all the menus and the bad UIs, and after getting through the horrible beginner starting experience, I finally started to really enjoy Punishing Grey Raven, and I can say with all honesty that after the horrible beginner experience, PGR is a good game with great combat. So with all that is said, would I recommend you to play Punishing Grey Raven? Well, I'm going to be honest, while I really ended up enjoying the game and I'm still really hyped for the DMC collab, but unfortunately until the developers Kuro Games fixed the horrible beginner experience in PGR with their bad menus, UI designs, and the whole no voice acting and information dump in their early story thingy, Punishing Grey Raven is just a hard game to recommend, because while playing PGR and showing some of my friends the DMC collab, some of them was very interested in the game and asked me if I would recommend them playing. And my response was, I would only recommend this game if you are willing to waste 3 to 7 days of your free time, depending on how fast you play, to get through a horrible beginner experience. And this is also my recommendation to you, because I cannot in good faith recommend people to waste 3 to 7 days of their free time just to potentially get to a part where a gacha game becomes a good game with great combat. Because I understand that people have lives, some of you have work, some of you have exams, some have relationships, and some have other games to play, and your time is very valuable. So as much as I would want and love to say that yeah, the 3 to 7 days are worth it, the combat in PGR is the best in the industry, I cannot in good faith say all of that without telling you the approximate time requirements it took me to get there. I will also say that PGR is one of the most free-to-play friendly gacha games available right now in the market, as the devs literally just gives you free S-rank characters alongside their signature weapons and combat boosters. I mean, in the current version alone, with their to shine, Kuro Games decided to give all PGR players 3 free S-rank characters, 2 of which will also get their signature weapon and combat boosters for absolutely free. I mean, Kuro Games don't even show this much love to Withering Waves during their first year anniversary. I mean, come on.
不错不错，我感觉西策划你还挺像个人。
Like, I really believe the only real thing holding this game back is the subpar beginner experience, because I really feel if the developers can update the starting experience, like give the starting missions a revamp, maybe add voice acting in the main stories, please, and fix the confusing UIs and menus, word of mouth will just bring players to Punishing Grey Raven, and a good beginner experience will keep these new players around. Anyways, that is all from me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, if you did, please leave a like, share, and subscribe, and comment. And if you disagree with anything I have said, feel free to call me a dumbass in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching the video. Nubby out.